Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Fulfillment Friday. I'm your host, the man, the myth, the hippogriff, Silver-Quill. And in an effort to just keep catching up with people, have a little fun, and get to know all that's going on, I have special guest, the drama horse himself, Thespio.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you're staying safe, staying clean,
The
and for
drama
the
horse
most part,
himself,
at least trying to
Thespio.
stay sane.
Well, I gave up on that years ago.
Yeah, that's why I said at least.
Oh,
I
I'm not
keep
even
saying
doing it
like,
at least.
oh,
Not even a little
but, yeah.
bit. Not even a bit of sanity to be found here. Thank you very much. But I want to echo, I hope you all are doing well. Happy Friday, happy May. Happy one day closer to when all this quarantine will end. I don't know what that day will be, but each day brings us closer.
Guess what? It's already May.
Well, come what may. Excellent. And right off the bat, I believe someone just followed. It always takes a second for the notification to appear.
Sure.
Rainbow Hose 521. Thank you for following. So, we follow up on my efforts to fulfill Patreon pledges as best I am able with how fast. Last week we started on this lovely whale, a whale sona. Mod whale.
Well, so yeah, I think I was. I remember I caught at least a little bit of last week's stream with Jasper, and I think they were talking about a whale sona, and I believe like I actually mentioned in the chat, it's like, doesn't Everfree Northwest kind of already have one of those as one of their mascots, the pony orca whale hybrid or something like that? I think her name's like Marina.
They do. It's a beautiful OC and adorable. But this is full on whale. Got a
Ooh.
whale of a tale to tell you. That's a whale of a tale. It's true.
Oh,
Also,
hey, look, it's Monstro if he actually decided to smile.
that'd be something too. Well, I did borrow some inspiration from the Disney scene. Uh, he's still got the pearly teeth though.
Mm. Oh
But
yeah.
also, welcome to Stormy Sparkler. Thank you for following. But the progress I've tried to make since then, played around more with the overlapping light. Looking at some photos from real life, I realized, okay, better to indicate the light above with the ripples of the waves breaking it up. Added some light streams because I honestly find that beautiful of underwater photography I've seen. And then I realized that this mod whale was looking a little lonely, so I added some fishy friends. Na 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 fishing. Na 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 fishing.
This actually fits kind of relatively well with some of my interests because, fun fact, before I wanted to pursue acting, when I was a little youngling in middle school, I actually wanted to have a career in studying cetaceans. I wanted to be some sort of oceanographer.
Ah, okay. I'm not well educated in this. What is a cetacean?
Cetacean is, I believe, that's actually it's either the genus or the species that includes whales, dolphins, and porpoises. Like they're all grouped together in no wait, it's no, I'm sorry, not family of animals. That's what they're grouped into as whales, dolphins, porpoises. They're all known as cetaceans.
Ah, they're all grouped under one common porpoise.
Yes, exactly. And like I think the only other person I that I can think of that would also know that would be Paleostano if he's
Aha.
still around.
Oh, he
Because I know
is.
he makes dolphins his forte, at least to my knowledge. Like that's what he's most known for, just loving dolphins and the like.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Paleo's still involved. He still chats things up. I think Keyframe and A&Y had a chance to talk with him just recently on their podcast.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I remember seeing an announcement about that.
Although now I've learned something new today. As far as I know, I only knew about citations, which I try to avoid like the plague. Now, I saw a question from Sketchbud asking, how do I save my files? Do I save them as PNG? For me, usually I either do TIFF, which are very high file, but they preserve the quality, and more recently PNG, as it's still good quality and preserves. But it's been a long time since I intentionally saved anything as a JPEG outside of a YouTube preview. Because why?
Yeah, as someone who also used to dabble in photo stuff like that, particularly like starting with MS Paint and then moving to GIMP. Yeah, I've learned very quickly the difference between JPEGs and PNGs and the like. And I believe when I had to I remember a while ago for a previous episode of TF2, If I'm Lying, I'm Crying, I asked you for any poses that you had of just standard stuff for ink rows. And yeah, those files are big when you save them as TIFFs.
They're huge.
Yeah, just like that whale.
So, again, whale of a tail. There we go.
Yeah.
Also a bit hard to dance around these clipping masks when you need them. I love it. You think, oh, I'm so done. I finished
believe it was
this.
Also when I started. Yeah, I remember when I started messing around in GIMP. For those that don't know, GIMP is pretty much it's almost like Photoshop, but it's free and it doesn't have every single bell and whistle that Photoshop has, but it has like it has what you need to get stuff done. But yeah, I learned about layering and stuff like that through GIMP, and that actually made things a little easier for any sort of photo thing I had to do, whether it be for videos or just little shenanigans here and there.
Oh, shenanigans.
Yes.
Although I gotta ask, it's somewhat inappropriate, but why did they choose the name GIMP, do you think?
That remains to be seen, and now that I think about it, yeah, that is a good legitimate question to ask.
I mean, it's juvenile of me to ask, but at the same time, I can't deny my inner frat boy.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I do want to. Right now, I'm going to see how my patron supporter who asked for this likes it. I'll be sending them a file this weekend. But before I do, I want to share one little bit of fun. Going online, I remembered the golden mean. It's a fun design premise. And so I looked online for an Illustrator template to help guide me. Also, a big shout out to Code Equestria for following. Much appreciated. The idea of the golden mean is that it's proportionally perfect. This is what it's sometimes referred to as a Nautilus curve, the golden mean, the golden ratio. And it's what inspired me to crop the image down a little to keep that proportion and to keep the focus. Here's the light and then the mouth. Happy mouth. I don't know if a fish being eaten would view it as a happy mouth, but I do it just for the halibut.
Yeah, although given that the fact that like from what I'm looking at, it looks more like a sperm whale. It wouldn't necessarily just be fish; it would also be giant squid.
Oh yes, one of the reference images was the whale chasing a giant squid, looking quite happy. The squid not so.
Yeah, as someone who again, because I wanted to be an oceanographer growing up as one of my many sort of dreams as a kid. Yeah, sperm whales, they're one of the few marine mammals that can actually dive down almost to the very bottom of the ocean, even though the pressure would if any human would go down there, unless they had this really high tech almost robotic like diving suit, the pressure down there would crush your bones.
Oh yeah, it's
and stuff like that.
That's when all these movies are saying you are going to the bottom of the Marianas Trench. It's like, that's baloney. We're definitely watching sci-fi. Also, a quick shout out to Blue Griffin Azora, who mentions that yes, the golden mean is also known as the golden section or the Fibonacci sequence. It goes by many names because many people use it.
So, but yeah, back to the thing you were saying of like going to the bottom of the trench. Does that mean it's really impossible to go 20,000 leagues under the sea?
Well, now you're making me think of Saturday Night Live. They actually did a whole skit on that.
Really?
Oh, it was way back in the day, but yes, basically Captain Nemo is trying to correct everyone. It's like, no, we're not going 20,000 leagues straight down. We're traveling horizontally 20,000 leagues. Oh, Captain Nemo, a giant squid is attacking. It must be 20,000 leagues long. No, it's not.
Wow. And just the fact that it's when was this sketch done? May I ask? Do you remember?
I was a child, so hecka old. SNL 20,000. I'm just doing a quick search. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Surely it's on YouTube.
Yeah, because if this took place like in the early 2000s, I'd be like, wow, Marlon must feel kind of dumb that he ostracized his son from being great, especially with that gimp fin.
I don't see it right away. Maybe the Watch Mojo on the top SNL skits, but it was pretty funny. Even when the giant squid attacked, they had this big puppet tentacle come in, and the actor playing Captain Nemo had to reach and pull it around himself. It looked so fake, but
Oh Lord,
that's part of what made it fun.
like a giant prop tentacle wrapping around your neck. All I keep thinking about is that one cough cough jump scare from Jaws 3D when they're going through that haunted aquarium attraction.
Oh,
Oh God, that movie was stupid.
but come on, it was ahead of the curve of in 3D.
Yeah, if you really want to call it that curb.
Well, it should be curb stomped, maybe. But
Yeah, probably.
and a quick save. So I'm pleased with how the Mod Whale turned out, and I was enjoying it so much. That's why I did a little work off stream. Goodness knows this week has been demanding enough that I haven't gotten much else done. But I'm going to be shifting gears to as a landlubber now. Because the next one of the earliest art requests I need to fulfill, but it's also one that intimidated me to no end. The patron supporter asked for an artwork of his OC flying over Ponyville. And Ponyville's detailed enough on its own to draw, but high angle, because, they're in the air. You want the focus to be on them. It's no secret why Rainbow Dash is seen in these screenshots. Who else is going to give us the aerial view of Ponyville?
Touche. Very touche. And, like, to have all of those intricate details in, an aerial shot of Ponyville alone, like, props to, the people at DHX for putting so much detail into it. But it's also reminding me of this this one art piece by this artist. I believe he goes by the name of Joey Bean. I remember he made this, like, giant, really intricately detailed art piece of the entirety of the BronyCon vendor hall one year, and just to see so much put into it. It's, like, I'm not much of an artist myself, but anyone who pays that much attention to detail, I can't not give props to.
Oh yes, hats off for that. Can you send me a link via our conversation and I can post it for folks?
If I cannot for the life of me remember if he actually put it up or not, but I can look.
Okay. Well, if so, great. If not, well, the effort has certainly not gone unnoticed, as he said in double negatives.
Yeah. I think I actually had the pleasure of meeting him in person at BronyCon one year, and he actually showed it to me, and like, he showed, like, one corner of it, and it was me, Golden Fox, and Keyframe walking together.
Nice.
And but yeah, I think oh yes, I found it.
Oh,
it's it's an art piece called The Wonderful But Old Herd. I'll go ahead and link you that. And boom.
So
yeah, it's pure black and white. It's not colored, but yeah, he's one of the most detailed pony fan artists that I've seen, and like definitely big props to him.
Excellent. Well,
this was BronyCon 2015. It says in the description.
BronyCon 2015. Wait, that might be I think that was the first BronyCon I ever attended.
I I think you're right. I think that was the first.
Egads, good memories.
Mm-hmm.
Memories. I'm just gonna sing in this annoying voice.
No, if you really want a memory song, it'll be like this. Memory, something, something. I'm a cat.
Told me that's not in the new Cats movie. I still won't go see it.
Yeah, I never made an attempt to see it either, and even from just like I know I saw like a Watch Mojo list of like the top 10 things why like what's wrong with cats or why cats bomb so hard, and just from those clips alone, I'm like, I am so glad I did not actually put forth money to see it.
Also,
I mean, I respect a few of the actors for giving it their all. Like, I mean, James Corden. I mean, like, how can you not love him? But just still, it's just,
ugh. Also, want to say that Iris P95 clarified for me the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea skit from SNL was in 1994.
Oh wow! So it was like a whole 10 years before Finding Nemo. All right.
Yes, there was an ocean before Finding Nemo. Yeah. Speaking of movies, I saw a question about thoughts on the Iron Giant, which was underrated in my eyes.
It's been ages since I've seen it. I need to make an attempt to watch it again at some point because I think like the last time I saw it was when it was on I think it was Cartoon Network's Cartoon Theater on TV, and yeah, I remember being blown away, especially by the giant himself going up to you know stop the missile and all that. But yeah, it left me quite stunned. But yeah, I need to watch it again.
I got to see it in theaters and I loved it. It was, well, how to describe it? Aside from just being visually beautiful, such great characters. Kid protagonists are very hard to get down sometimes.
Hmm.
It depends on, well, a lot of things, but I found the kid was innovative, intelligent, and the way he built a bond, it was very organic. And then the scene where it all just goes to hell as the giant remembers his original purpose
Oh yeah,
and the sadness. I mean, the animation sold it that he was just despairing when he thought his friend was dead.
yeah, I remember that.
And of course, then there was the I forget the name of the agent, but he was a character you love to hate.
Yeah, I cannot for the life of me remember his name either. But yeah, he was. Oof.
So it's a great movie, but unfortunately, I need to jar my memory. A bit like that memory song you just sang, which, dude, you got some pipes.
Well, I mean, amongst my other interests, like I grew up wanting to do a lot of things as a kid. Like I wanted to be an oceanographer. I also wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to, be a train engineer. But I know one thing that my mom actually, God bless her soul, she also really wanted me to do because I think it was she who discovered how good at it I was. Um, I've been taking singing lessons and musical theater. I want to say like ever since I was like in elementary school. So I know like yeah, like I went to a singing coach and I've done community theater a majority of my life. But then I decided to take a break from it during high school because I wanted to focus. School was already stressing me out as it was, and I didn't really seriously considering trying to get back into singing until, um, gosh, I want to say almost like 7 years ago when, while I was working my normal job as a pizza delivery guy, I found myself, you know what? I just want to do just, detox away from the stress of all the hustle and bustle inside the restaurants. and just blow off some steam, I decided to treat myself to some carpool karaoke. And I will say there was also one specific Broadway musical that I downloaded the sound for, um, and listening to it the whole way through revitalized my love of musical theater, and it made me realize I want to get back into doing this, and that is the Book of Mormon.
Oh, funny. I was actually prepping to joke about that, but because I'll tell you true, I don't get to see many shows, but I've had the pleasure of seeing the Book of Mormon twice.
3 times for me.
Aha.
So, but yeah, just I don't know. Like I kind of have this soft spot for like this out of context. This might seem incredibly sexist of me, but I have a big appreciation for a lot of male driven musical theater because I don't know. I've again, it just sounds weird and kind of wrong out of context. But I don't know, just hearing a whole like an all male choir get together to not only tell this funny story but revitalize my love of singing. Because another fun fact, when I was in high school, I actually was given a choice for an elective to start taking during sophomore year. Uh, my counselor gave me the choice if I wanted to either do student government, which helps prepare all the dances and events and rallies and stuff like that, or if I wanted to join the choir.
Hmm.
And in hindsight, like I'm still kind of kicking myself to this day, but I decided to go with student government because I thought, hey, it might be fun, to go behind the scenes of how events are planned and stuff like that. And yeah, it's kind of looking back in hindsight, it's like, yeah, kind of gave up singing for that.
did
But
did it give you any empathy
yeah,
for when Twilight tries to plan a big event?
yeah, that's probably also a big reason why Twilight is one of my favorite main six next to Rarity. And but yeah, it's kind of funny how hindsight is 2020, especially when you're a youngin. But yeah, and especially ever since I met Katie, who another sort of funny thing when we started dating, um, when I think it was like our second or third date, when we were just driving around and we were just picking random Broadway soundtracks to just sing along to. She called her sister. So it's like, hey, I just got a date with this guy. He likes to sing in the car just like me. And point blank, her sister just said, you need to marry this guy right away. He loves a lot of the same stuff you do. How could you say no? So it's talk about serendipity.
By any chance, was the sister's name Sarah?
No, her name's Alyssa.
I was hoping Dippity would have been my second fallback, but well, she proved to be correct and good advice.
Yeah, 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 it was. And yeah, now like once this whole thing blows over, me and Katie are actually considering taking singing classes from her old singing coach that she got training from. And we had like a trial class with her, I think I think it was like a year or two ago. And yeah, she adores us. We would love to get back with her at some point.
Excellent.
And but yeah, aside from that, I just mostly practice by myself. And yeah, I want to get back into doing covers again at some point once things are off my plate and I'm not busy with work and stuff like that.
Well, or at the very least, I think you should sing at another Hooves line.
Yeah, because I actually, or better yet, if they'll have me back, I would love to have another set at a convention during one of their concerts.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah, because I remember performing at Everfree Northwest 2018 was such a blast. I would love to go back and do it again.
Oh, excellent.
Who doing all the singing stuff during Hooves line, that's always fun too.
Well, I feel I should provide some context if folks weren't able to be there. We had the pleasure of having Thespio on Hooves Line Anime for BabsCon last year. I believe it was last year.
Yes.
I'm not going crazy.
No, yeah, it was last year.
So,
I think was it also like the year before? Because I feel like I've done Hooves Line. I think like at very least I think like 2 or 3 times. I know my first time I guessed on it was at a Ponyville Cider Fest, and it was with Saberspark, Race Best, and Jay Holler, and all they did was just bring me on for I think like 2 games or something like that. But yeah, I think it was Hooves Line with you, Saber, and Race last year at BabsCon. It was the first time I participated in the panel in full.
And you did a great job.
The whole time.
But it came time to do an improv song skit with various views, and the topic with various subjects. And the topic we got was Starlight Glimmer. And
oh yeah, it was the hoedown.
It was the hoedown.
That's what the game is called.
And Thespio dominated the game with this well-written, well-structured verse about Starlight, and it blew everyone away. You were the king of hoedown that night.
Yeah, apparently I was so good. I even dang, I had a thought that I lost it. No wait, it's back. I remember I think it was like the last day of the con. I remember I ran into our friend Brawny Buck, who was there. I think he was there. He was either as a guest or just doing press work. And I remember he came up to me. It's like, yeah, that hoedown was killer, dude. You nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was fun. I love the opportunity to improv with Race and Saber. I love to do more stuff with them, like I actually remember even for a time I wanted to try and do like another project or so with you, Silver, at some point, when things aren't as crazy.
So 2025 then.
Maybe.
Oh, honestly, sometimes you just gotta accept things will always be crazy in some form. Like me.
Yeah. Touche. Or even me.
Or me. Now, there's been a question in the chat, and I'm curious about this as well. Now that the show is over and done, we've run our course. Have your views on Starlight changed? Stayed the same?
Well, I could definitely say that my, I guess you want to call it, burning hatred for her has gone down significantly. I'm more or less, I don't necessarily hate her now. I'm just more or less disappointed with how they handled her character. Because after really thinking about it and looking back, she does have good concepts and good ideas attached to her. I just think they weren't executed that well.
Well, it's a fair critique.
Yeah, it could have done with like a little bit more polishing, at least to me, to make her as compelling or likable as people are clamoring to her. Like, again, I don't hate her nowadays. I'm just disappointed with how they handled her.
If there was an episode or at least one core concept that you would alter to get that better sympathy or connection, what would it be?
That's actually a good question. I would think that probably the one key sort of moment in fact, I think you could probably dedicate an entire episode to this. Was because I also got this point of view from seeing other critiques of her as well. I think the one big misstep that they had with her that I think would have helped soften the blow for her character was to show the in-between period of what Starlight was to what she is. In a sense, like, I think what probably could have saved her was, the ending song and the cutie remark. Um, I forget what the title is called. They just
Friends can change the
honestly,
world.
friends can change the world. That's what it was. I think like the song is fine in by itself, but I think with her, like, you could have dedicated an entire episode to her trying to atone herself instead of restricting it to a musical montage. Because I actually remember this was originally going to be a thing that me and Voice of Reason were going to do before we actually started our little Siskel and Ebert tribute review series for At the Screening for season 9. One thing that I think could have fixed Starlight was to dedicate an episode of her going back to the village and like before the events of To Where I'm Back Again, of her going back to the village and trying to atone for her actions, and maybe having one or two of the village four be a little more skeptical. Like, should we really trust her after all that she's done to this town, all that she's done to us? I don't know. I'm gonna need to see more actions rather than words. Maybe it could be Double Diamond or Night Glider or something like that, or maybe even Party Favor, because we've seen him interact with Starlight the most, or he's the one that also, um, uh, in a sense, offered himself as tribute, um, to help give the main six some time, and the whole "but I didn't listen" and all that stuff. Like, again, I think like what hurt Starlight was they decided to tell and not show to what she was to what she is. I think that could have helped a lot better.
Understandable. I would go with Double Diamond as the doubter, as he was her most fanatical supporter until until the truth was revealed. That kind of betrayal, that takes a while to integrate into your life.
Yeah, true. And plus, too, like, he was the one who threw the staff to, save everybody's cutie marks. So, yeah, I believe, yeah, I think it was also me and Voice agreed that Double Diamond would have been a perfect fit to be one of the skeptical ones.
I don't know how the staff feel about it. I got the sense that we got that tell. Well, they may have been physically showing, but it really was just a tell. I get the sense it's because it's a younger audience show. They're trying to wrap everything up really clean by season finale. Even though I think they, well, okay, this is where I have no idea about production. How soon do you know you're going to get another season? Is it while you're writing the current season, or is it when all is said and done and you just gotta treat every season like it's your last? That I do not know.
You know what? That actually is something that I thought of too, and I don't know. Like, do you recall if that's ever been asked at a panel at a convention before?
As far as I'm aware, no. I've had the pleasure of sitting in or even getting to MC a few, but I don't think anyone's really talked about that timeline of events, when you know the next season versus when you know versus when you're writing the finale. One of the funnier things is that in the later seasons, we would have confirmation before the new season even aired that there'd be another, which changed some of the mystique for us as an audience, I think. But I don't know if that extended to the staff. I mean, if you could bank on there'll be another season, then maybe you could leave the door hanging a little.
Yeah, I guess that does make sense. Like, yeah, like we truly don't really know all the intricate details of what goes on behind the scenes. Um, I would like to guess that I think they, unless, um, like this is at least to my knowledge, I by no means claim I'm an expert or have intricate knowledge of what goes on behind the scenes, even though I am technically in show business. Um, I would say like unless they're approved, like they're like I would like to think that at the very least they were approved for like the first season with the show's conception, and they probably wouldn't know if they got a second season until either the first couple of episodes or maybe even halfway through the season with the bit of a maybe that's the reason for the hiatus to see if the show will in fact get approved for another season or multiple seasons afterwards. So who knows, really?
Well, the staff knows, and you know what? There will be more conventions in the future. If I get a chance to MC, I might I'll try to work that question in because that's
Yeah, you
it.
know that actually, yeah, it does sound like a good discussion topic. Not gonna lie.
Also, I just want to give a shout out. Your cohort Voice of Reason is here in the chat on the YouTubes. So
Ah,
just want to
hey,
say,
voice.
hey, Voice. And there's a question from Cotton Lum for you. What is
Shoot.
your favorite moment with Jasper?
Oh boy. Favorite moment with Jasper. Oh boy, that's honestly that's a toughie. Um, like all I'm gonna say is like I would consider Jasper probably um my closest friend that I've known probably the longest out of anyone else. I think, gosh, I think our friendship extends back to like probably more than a decade
Nice.
because we met through um, a different online community back in I want to say like 2007, 2008, give or take. It was when YouTube was still a relatively new website, and both of us were really into this little show. Even as grown adults, both of us were still really into Thomas the Tank Engine, and we kind of made our own little fan series with our own toys and models and stuff like that. And I remember he kind of took an idea of a video I made and then somehow made it better. And I'm like, who is this guy? And, it's kind of snowballed ever since. So, gosh, as far as like favorite moments with him, um, that really is a toughie. I definitely say like, if I wasn't restricted to just one, um, I would definitely say one of them would have to be Pizza Remus, which is the short that me and him did with Katie. Um, and I honestly can't pick a favorite. I honestly can't. Like every sort of thing I do with him is an adventure in and of itself, and how we bounce off each other, it's like we're a well-oiled machine, and that's why I really enjoy working with him when it comes to editing audio, not just for his projects, but when both of us collaborate on TF2. Um, but yeah, like I would have to say honestly, like if I had to choose a favorite, I would be whatever comes next.
Ah, there you go. Up for the future.
Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of TF2 and audio, you do the music as well?
Um, yes and no. Like, here's how the audio editing or sound design for TF2 Analysis Anarchy works. This is basically like each step we do. Once the script for whatever episode is all written out, we then ask for people's recordings, and then I assemble all of the dialogue into one track. And then I send it to then it depends on who takes on a majority of the work. There have been some episodes where I took care of all the audio editing by myself, which was gathering all the lines and then putting all the music and sound effects and all that. I did it all by myself with episodes such as Rescuers 6 Feet Under and Blinded by the Phoenix, both parts. And even Emotions on the Battlefield, which is now how I proposed to Katie. All the sound design was done by me. But other episodes, after I assemble all the dialogue, I would either give it to Jasper for him to pick out music and sound effects, or I would give it to one of our relatively newest team members who also doubles as a vector artist and prop designer, Brass Polish. And then they would then after they'd done their work, they would send me each individual track, like a track for dialogue, a track for music, a track for sound effects, a track for ambience, or multiples of each, however they decided to lay it out. And then I listened to what they got going, and then I go in and polish, like either make the timing on certain pieces a little cleaner to where it doesn't go on for too long, or it's not going at a million miles a minute, unless that's the intention of the scene. And then after I polish everything, when it comes to like timing or maybe taking out a few things here and there, then I go into volume mixing to make sure that nothing is peaking over anything. And then once I got a first pass, this is actually a technique that I picked up from seeing I think it was an Instagram post by Black Griffin. He listens, or him and Basic, his brother, he listens to the final mix or the first passes of each mix using their car speakers.
Their car speakers?
Yeah, because how I've picked up things while doing audio editing, sometimes how you hear things, like, say, through your headphones may sound different coming out of, say, car speakers or even speakers at conventions. So I have to account for, I want to make sure, like, a certain segment doesn't peak so that it either blows out the speakers or blows out anybody's eardrums or the like. And then I do another pass if there's things that need to be tweaked here and there. And then once I'm satisfied with the final product, I send it off to whoever's doing the visual edits, be it either Lightning Bliss, Ty and Daga, Finn, or Master Code, et cetera, et cetera.
Excellent. I just want to give a quick shout out to Ginga Man Prime, who I believe is also a Super Sentai fan, for following. Much appreciated. But as we're also talking about getting the lines from everyone, I think definitely need to give a shout out to Sweetie Bloom. As she...
yes.
She, as a grand coordinator, she makes sure everyone gets their lines in.
Yeah, she's one, like, well, also, like, Jasper has picked this up too. She goes around, how they put it, they go around poking people to make sure that they're doing their part, to make sure they send stuff in, and making sure everything is running as smoothly as possible.
Yes, and then Jasper rewards those with a pizza cookie. Or is it a cookie pizza?
Yes. Yeah, that's kind of like his thing in our little chat room that we got for the series. So.
Yes, but I've mostly I get so lost. Sweetie Bloom has been my reminding grace. Otherwise, I'd never get audio in Hunt ever. They just be like, "Well, we'd love to continue this, but somebody keeps forgetting to provide their lines."
Yeah, yeah. Even through the course of for each episode, we've had run into our fair share of certain stragglers. I obviously won't name names, but it varies from episode to episode depending on what's going on at the time and stuff like that is, and of course also the urgency of each project, because there are some that are in line to wanting to be ready for conventions or wanting to premiere at a certain time that coincide with a special event or stuff like that.
Well, appreciate we're not bringing conflict. Use your aggressive feelings, Thespio. Let the salt run through you. Man.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that in a sense, like, even though we're doing a completely fan made online series, it's kind like, I even shared this with Doc, I think when we traveled to the final Crystal Mountain Pony Con, when he picked us up from the airport. Doing TF2, it kind of gives people insight on what it's actually like to do a series, and ergo give a lot of empathy to people who actually do this for a living with actual stuff on TV and movies and the like.
Mm. Of course, those people don't have to deal with my puns. I feel like that's a hazard unique solely to the TF2 crew. So respect, but I'm not going to stop.
Yeah, I can see how that's a mantra you live by.
Well, he's experienced this. Before we started this stream, I had a very brief moment where I could say hello to his wife, and it, in true fashion of any of my conversations, it ended with her threatening to shove her phone down my throat.
With that little mess up, it's like she would go one step further. She would want to shove your throat down your throat. Because believe me, she will find a way.
I just asked her to turn the phone on to streaming, and should probably turn on the light. That way, it would be the most interesting stream I'll probably ever do. Welcome to this person's esophagus.
Oh, look, he had a little beef this afternoon.
Oh, I've got a little.
All that and more on National Geographic.
Da 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 da. I always loved when Ask a Ninja tried to apply lyrics to that. Look at that monkey. What has that monkey got in its hands? Bum bum. Oh dear. Does anyone here even remember Ask a Ninja? It was one of the pioneer series of internet entertainment.
Interesting thing. Back when I got my first iPod, as like this in between period when I was in middle school and high school, I remember looking up podcasts because I was interested in trying to see, because I heard that Homestar Runner had its own video podcast where you can watch certain episodes. It didn't have to rely on Flash websites, so you could watch it on the go. I remember Ask a Ninja was on the front page every single time I went to the podcast area on iTunes. So
oh yeah, it's a hilarious series. So much energy and done relatively low budget. I mean, still quality, but low budget. Just the joy of the jump cut. I was always taught never do jump cuts; it'll distort your audience unless it's a high energy piece like Ask a Ninja. For every rule, there's an artistic way around it.
There is a method to the madness. Because, yeah, I remember seeing certain pieces of media, but I can't remember off the top of my head, that do use jump cuts very effectively. And plus, two, you're kind of ignoring one of the, because sometimes cuts can be used for added humor, which I believe the term for that is called Gilligan cut.
What, is it trapped on an island?
Who knows? The cut could be cutting to someone trapped on an island.
Irony.
But yeah, I actually remember that term was used in a script I was doing sound design for, and I actually had to look it up to see if I could get like a visual example. And yeah, that's what it's named. It's used particularly to help hammer a joke in.
I could see how that would happen. Although I guess I'm curious as to the history of its name. Just because I don't know. I doubt Gilligan's Island was the first one to make advantage of that joke.
You know what? That's actually a good question. I don't know where they. Where did they get the name? This is what it kind of does to me. It makes me genuinely interested on how stuff began or where it first came up. Because, yeah, actually looking it up, it's either called a Gilligan cut or it's also called a smash cut. Because apparently there's two different names to it.
Oh, there always is. It's like the golden mean. There's Like there was like 5 names for that thing. Although
Right.
when you say that, I have heard that term at least once before. One example would be Robot Chicken. One of their Star Wars specials where Boba Fett and Queequeg, no, not Weequay, escape the pit, and they're basically just celebrating being alive. Till Boba Fett.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah.
Boba said, "For the love of God, do not smash cut to that stupid monkey," and then they smash cut to it. Stupid monkey.
Yeah.
So there's always an example in the old memory banks if you can jar it loose.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Plus pop culture
Let's
references.
see. I see. I see in the chat. Yeah, the amazing Gumball is asking if me and Katie plan on having kids in the future. No, we do not. We're quite content where we are, and like I'll be perfectly honest here. I don't see myself as that great of a parent.
Well, don't sell yourself short. I mean, nobody's the perfect parent right out of the gate. But also,
touche. But I think with what we got going on now, and where we're trying to go in life, I think we're good with just having each other. I don't know if having kids would just add more stress onto what we're already dealing with, but it's to each their own.
Yes, I'm not trying to pressure one or the other, but I also don't want my friends to sell themselves short.
No, I get you. I get you.
That's for me to do with my trolling. Let's see. I will sell you at 3 feet 2 inches. There, short. Although I just implied that I would actually sell my friends. That's not cool.
Yeah, we kind of don't want to be like Rainbow Dash and Trajan, now do we?
Oh, hey, I still maintain it's not her fault that the rules governing that were really dumb. Like, in a perfect world, you could say, oh, well, if both parties are satisfied, then it's a good trade. No. No, there are about 5,000 ways you can abuse that.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure people will find ways.
Oh, yes. There's always a way.
Though I will say, at the very least, like when it comes to kids, I do have a nephew-in-law, which is Katie's sister's son, and he just recently turned like I think like back in March, he just recently turned 5, and like we love him. He's a great kid, but the best thing about it is we get to give him back. So that's probably our limit. But yeah, he's a good kid, and that's probably what we'll stick with, just having a nephew.
There you go. Now, let's see, in the chat there's been the question from Chemp to Stay, what do I think of Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, and here's where I have to confess my sins. I don't think I've ever seen an episode.
Really?
Not from when it was little models to apparently now it's CG. I've not seen an episode. It was, I think it was after my time.
Really? Because, like, if you don't mind me asking, how old were you in 1984?
4.
Okay. All right.
I was forsaken.
Well, as a well, if you ever need a historian on the show's point of view, you know who you can turn to.
Indeed, I do. Jasper, will you help me out?
Well, he's an option too, and also Brass Polishes as well. I know he's an aficionado, but yeah, you are right. It was a model show first, and then it made the transition to CGI. It had a really interesting in between period because its 12th season tried having a mixture of both, using live action models with CGI faces, and boy, did it look awkward.
Uncanny
It wasn't
Valley?
until yeah, kind of Uncanny Valley. It wasn't until its 13th season when it went full CGI, and that's the way it's been ever since. In fact, I think they're actually just now premiering its 24th season.
24? Hey, ha.
Yeah,
I only know The
it's been
Simpsons
going
can
on
run
for
that. Only The Simpsons could rival that.
Simpsons, South Park, Family Guy, all those pioneers and stuff like that. But yeah, it's still going, and it's had its share of ups and downs. I can say that much. I still hold the classic model series very dear to me. Like if you want at least a recommendation, season 5 was probably its edgiest
Edgy.
because they actually did a whole lot of dark storylines. In fact, like not just stuff like with ghosts and haunted places, even natural disasters.
Yeah, it's
So, but yeah, that's all I can at least say on that. But that's at least what I can recommend. But the only thing you would have to slog through is Alec Baldwin narrating.
I don't know him to be a bad narrator usually. Then again, I don't hear him
Well, as
narrate.
well, there's some places where he doesn't put as much conviction as you think would be needed for
Hmm.
something like that, because mind you, um it has its different share of narrators because it's mostly based in the UK. It has US narrators and it had UK narrators. Both of them started off with Beatles drummer Ringo Starr for the first 2 seasons, and then George Carlin took over for seasons 3 and 4. Then it was Alec Baldwin for seasons 5 and 6 for the U.S., and then Michael Brandon was season 7 onward until the CGI era. I think like season 17, and then the longest running narrator in the UK was from season 3 up until I think like halfway through the CG era, Michael Angelis.
So,
Yeah, it's had its interesting share of storytellers. In fact, even James Bond narrated a special.
Sean.
Pierce Brosnan.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to picture that. The name is Engine. Thomas the Tank Engine. I'm just.
Yeah, you would think that like full stop. I would have loved to see Sean Connery attempt to do it. But but yeah, that's all I can really say on that. It's had its ups and downs. It's holds a special place in my heart, and yeah, if I were to recommend at least an introduction to it, I'd say season 5.
Huh.
Like, not saying the previous seasons don't also have their gems, but I'd like at least season 5 is a favorite for me because it got pretty dark in a good way, and I loved it.
I always appreciate when a show's willing to tackle a more mature subject, just because
Hmm.
kids don't have the experience, but that doesn't make them stupid.
Yeah, like I don't know, like especially like after getting into My Little Pony, I feel like they really shouldn't be afraid to really go the extra mile. Like especially like some films back in the 80s, they they were not afraid at all to go full out on heavy stuff or even scary stuff. And I feel like, certain media nowadays days could really take influence from that instead of making everything, so safe it lacks true substance. But, that's just me.
I'm also kind of. You said, was it George Carlin narrated for a time?
Uh, Yeah, George Carlin narrated. Like he actually came back to do reread versions of seasons 1 and 2, but he was brought on for seasons 3 and 4 for like all brand new stuff for the U.S. And it was also during his time when he was on Thomas's partner show, Shining Time Station, where he played Mr. Conductor, and it was a live action um, sort of framework where they could tell Thomas stories in a sense before they were, sort of separated into their own entity on VHS for a time.
Huh. I just find it funny. I mostly know George Carlin for his stand-up comedy and how to put it, no pulls no punches and is simultaneously loved and rejected. I forget that he actually did a lot of work for cartoons and younger people entertainment.
Yeah, yeah, like like funny thing, like Thomas was my introduction to George Carlin's stand-up. Like I heard his narration as a kid, and I didn't discover his stand-up until I want to say like I was a junior in high school, and like my then-year-old mind was like, "This is Mr. Conductor saying this. I love it." But yeah, like I remember when I picked up his, I think like I read a little bit of his autobiography. He like he wanted to sort of try out doing children's media, and I think he found some pretty decent success with that. In fact, I think I remember one of his last roles that he had was the Volkswagen hippie character in the first Cars movie.
There's a lot of love on this track, man. That one?
I'm telling you, man, every third blink is slower. Oh, take a car wash, hippie.
Nice. Well, that might be better than Orson Welles going out as Unicron. It's always funny the last role someone has. You think you think either A, they deserve better, or B, that's just perfect.
Yeah, yeah. There are a few actors that went out and with mixed results and stuff like that. Like one of the last roles that kind of stood out to me that actually I think went out on a bang was Jimmy Stewart when he played that sheriff dog in Five Goes West.
Ah, yeah. Oh, it's been a long time since I saw that.
Yeah,
You're
that's I
invoking all
know.
kinds of nostalgia here.
Well, I mean, it's one. It was also one of my favorite movies growing up, and especially Katie's family. They love Five Goes West. Every time it was on TV, they would drop whatever they were doing and just gather around it. It was great.
Speaking of nostalgia, Shadow Rider's been asking for our favorite kaiju, giant monsters.
Hate to break it to you, I'm not that much into kaiju or Godzilla, so I can't really have a preference. But I did see the recent Godzilla King of the Monsters movie, and uh, I forget what's that giant butterflies monster's name again? Was it Mathra? No,
Mothra,
no, I'm thinking of something else.
you're close.
Okay, Mothra. Yeah, that seeing Mothra was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, honestly, if you want like someone to talk about kaiju for a while, I would definitely ask Lightning Bliss. She's more of the better Godzilla fan that at least I know in my close circles than me.
Yes, she drew me. She drew me as the three-headed dragon Ghidorah. I was just triple annoying.
Oh yeah.
Now, for my 2 cents, top three giant monsters would have to be Godzilla. He's the king for a reason. Gamera, who, even if you're not a big fan, just watching the Mystery Science Theater crew react to him is a treat. But for a third, for just, I don't know if Gypsy Danger will count as it's a giant robot fighting giant monsters, but I loved what the first Pacific Rim did. It in many ways, in my eyes, revitalized the concept of the genre and what you could do if you stopped treating it as people in rubber suits and actually asked, what what would really happen in this situation. How much weight is behind a blow? How would it impact the surroundings? When a friend of mine saw Man of Steel, he commented that as Americans, we've gotten very good, unfortunately, at depicting what it looks like when a city is destroyed. It's a very somber moment, but actually good insight based on that movie. But yeah, Pacific Rim really won me over. So even if Gypsy Danger doesn't count, I think you can pick a kaiju in that. I mean, how many, they fought a Cthulhu monster. How can you not find a Cthulhu monster awesome? Oh, wait. My friend the Kaiju no Kami will berate me. It's supposed to be pronounced Cthulhu. He's very particular about his eldritch horrors.
I'm guessing he thinks the H is silent.
Well, in some ways it's meant to be unpronounceable. It's like a word you can see but don't really know how to say. That's to invoke just how ancient a horror it is. But I guess if you emphasize the T and have, the H just gets swallowed up, like your sanity.
So if that were the case, would I be pronounced Thespio? Or something like that?
If you want to. Here, I can change the banner to say with Thespio. We can come up with new names for all my guests, and they will have to spend weeks of rebranding just to force the memory from their minds. Yes, this is a great idea. I'm a terrible friend.
Alert! Alert! Silver-Quill has ideas! Run for your lives! Hide your kids! Hide your wives!
That always comes in handy.
Yeah. I gotta ask, where did you acquire that soundboard? Is it like a physical thing you're holding in your hands, or is that purely like an online sort of attachment you have?
It is an actual physical box, little plastic. It's got 16 buttons, made by NPW, and it was a Christmas gift. In fact, with the isolation going, my family has been doing Zoom calls. And I've used it every now and again, reminding my mom, you got this for me at Christmas. She got me 2, in fact. So she's still trying to live that down with my brother and father.
Oh, boy.
but I thank her every time I use it. Thanks, Mom. But it's served in more variety than I ever would have imagined. I think I've also damaged people's hearing with it. That is my bad. I don't mean to have this assault upon your ears. Just be glad I didn't try to sing.
Yeah, I would argue, that would be worse. No offense, dude.
Oh, no, none taken. It's fact. It's fact. Every time I sing, an angel rips its wings off.
I'm honestly just thankful that Bliss didn't want to rip hers off after you and her tried that cover of When Christmas Comes to Town from Polar Express that one year.
Yeah, no, that was not a highlight of. I never have received training in singing. I've never been terribly musically inclined. So, I told her as much, but she just wanted to do it. She was so passionate. I just can't say no to that energy.
Yeah, I've actually, like, recently I've been thinking about, possibly doing another little singing thing with her, because Blissy It's Cold Outside has become, honestly, one of my favorite collaborations with her.
I will wish you both luck and stay way the far away. Way. No way, yes way, far away. But let's see here. What are some other questions I'm seeing? Common. Oh, Demgalion Drays. Oh dear, I'm really struggling with this name. Demiglion Dreitz has been asking what my favorite Kamen Rider is, and that coincides with Rainbow Hose 521, who was asking what I thought of Zero One. To date, my favorite would probably be Gaim, which it starts out as a very absurdist show in that they try to replicate the feudal era of Japan as represented by street dancers in Tokyo who compete for territory. And believe it or not, they actually they bring in these masked heroes as part of that. But by the end, it is an actual apocalypse with some pretty startling betrayals by characters. And also conflicts that you're like, yeah, it's sad to see, but it feels inevitable. And so it's a series that took me completely off guard. I was ready to write it off and just sort of either riff on it as so bad it's good, but it just got so good it's really good. But I'm also the current series Zero One is more of a sci-fi bent, featuring artificial intelligence and actually tackling a lot of social issues that new technology in any form carries, including loss of jobs, escapism amongst people. Basically, how would you treat something that was made to serve you? Goodness, I've seen people abuse customer service people at a grocery store. Just treat them with no respect. What would you do? What would those people be like if they had a 24-hour assistant that wasn't considered human? That's a scary thought.
Yeah, actually kind of is now that I think about it.
I think Star Trek tackled this as well when they asked in The Measure of a Man. They asked, are you ready to condemn an entire race of androids to servitude? It's like, ooh. Oh, Picard, you're asking the important questions and you're hitting where it hurts.
Ooh. Well, all right then.
But now, one thing we haven't really talked about is the project that began just before we were all in lockdown. You and your wife are working on a movie.
Yes. Like I'm just a producer on it, but yeah, this is so for those that don't know, or may need a reminder since it's been a while, back in September, me and my wife Katie launched a crowdfunder to raise funds for a horror short film that she has written and plans to submit to film festivals and the like, because she's really passionate about the art of filmmaking and wants to make it big as someone in the horror movie business. So she wrote the script. I think it was like since June of 2018, I think. And yeah, the film is called Only You, and the tagline is, it's the story of a man who comes home to find his stalker waiting for him with dinner in the oven. And we raised the funds for that, thankfully. Like, the crowdfunder ended a little before Halloween. And timing must have been on our side incredulously, because we managed to finish shooting for the whole short film 2 days before our state was mandated to be put under quarantine. And it's like the timing couldn't have been more on our side. And it was a 3-day shoot, and we are currently we just about a month or so ago, we just sent the footage off to our editor, and we actually should have a first draft with, I think, 1 to 2 weeks, and then we're going to have a second pass to make sure everything is color corrected, sound design and sound effects sound good, and then after that, we're gonna find a composer for the score, and then we're gonna try to see. If I'm correct, I think we're trying to shoot for having it complete and all ready to go. I think around like I think around sometime in August. And according to Katie, she wants to try to submit it to if things let up by then. She's looking to submit to several film festivals like Women in Horror Film Festival, Scream Fest, and of course one of the bigger ones, South by Southwest, just to name a few. But yeah, things are going along, and the fact that we managed to get everything filmed before all this craziness happened and we were put on lockdown is nothing short of a miracle, I think.
Well, I'm glad for
But yeah,
that.
things are moving along well. I'm really excited to see it. I was charged with shooting behind the scenes stuff. So we have yet to get all that together. But yeah, things are moving along as they should.
Excellent. Now, I'm curious that for the horror you chose a stalker being in your home, which, yes, if okay, I admit that my first thought would probably, hey, what smells so good? Second thought, who the F are you? I admit my
Yeah,
priorities might be jumbled.
yeah, no worries. But yeah, to my knowledge, like it Katie would probably explain this a little better than I can since this is her project, but she is currently in a Zoom call with her career coach as we speak. But I can give sort of at least sort of like a Spark Notes version. She made this film to sort of emphasize that stalking isn't necessarily like, you know how you hear stories about men stalking women for a multitude of reasons, either like rough relationship or just being a predator and stuff like that. She kind of made this film to show that it's not really gender specific. Anyone can be a stalker and anyone can stalk for almost any reason, and how it might not take that much effort, because there have been stories out there. Like I remember she told me about this one story where I believe it was this woman was stalking a former police officer for quite a long time, and even like again, I may be getting my stories jumbled, but it was something along the lines of um like his coworkers didn't take it seriously. Like come on, dude, she's a woman. And like that kind of that's like that's kind of scary in and of itself. Like it can be any reason, it can be anybody,
Hmm.
and it the severity can um really be all over the place.
Hmm.
So that's what she's hoping to accomplish with this short film. I obviously won't give away spoilers or anything like that, but from what I've seen and from what she shot, yeah, it gave me the chills, and that's what she's hoping to do with the finished product.
Awesome. Well, okay, definitely scary, but awesome, scary.
Yeah.
But it's funny you say that because I'm thinking of Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have not seen it. She has. She mostly got, to my knowledge, she mostly got influence for this story by watching stuff like, I think to her, no, I think, I'm trying to remember like where she got influences from. I know one of them was the film Stepford Wives.
Ah, well,
Uh, Actually, hold on. I think I can go to the website and see what she put for influences.
well,
Uh,
well. I mentioned The Birds because the first act of that story. At first, in my eyes, the real terror is the female protagonist because she spends her early part of the movie basically stalking a guy across California and going so far as to sneak into his home.
Hmm.
And I thought, at the time, maybe this was considered charming or flirtatious, but I'm getting creeped out here.
All right.
It's like,
And yes, I see you, Sweetie Bloom, in the chat. Yes, I know I need to be educated on this. Trust me, Katie has plans to at some point.
but now I've added an ally. Yes, you've fallen into my well-scripted trap, because I totally planned for this, yes.
But yeah, okay, yeah, Stepford Wives was definitely an influence, along with Fatal Attraction, and of course, I think probably the best, well, example, Stephen King's Misery.
Oh. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm familiar with Misery.
Film is, yeah, that film. I remember I saw that a while ago, and yeah, that's also pretty terrifying. But yeah, those top three films, Misery, Fatal Attraction, and Stepford Wives, were the main influence for this short film, which is titled Only You. And I'm sure if you're watching this on YouTube, there are links down below to the film's Twitter and Facebook, as well as one of our producers' info and all that stuff.
Yes, if anyone would like to check out the description either on YouTube or Twitch, I've added links to Thespio's social media, Only You's social media, and Jazzy Angel Productions, who helped put this all together, are helping get this all put together.
Yeah, Jazzy Angel Productions is the production company of one of our other producers, Angela, who she is such a sweetheart. She is she had her own short film not too long ago, and she's also been on HBO's Boardwalk Empire.
Ooh.
So yeah, she's got some stuff on her belt, and yeah, we're good friends with her. She's really cool. And then of course, I'll also give a shout out to our other producer and our head editor, Savvy J, who is actually currently on the digital team of America's Funniest Home Videos.
I wasn't. Well, yes, I was aware that show is still going. I remember watching when it first aired. So, I'm old.
Yeah, I believe like I was there when they made the big switch of hosts. Because I think like it was that guy from Full House who first started hosting it. Then they moved to Keegan Mike. No, oh no, wait. I'm thinking about America's. I'm thinking of the Planet's Funniest Animals. My bad.
No, it's well, it is the fellow from Full House, Bob Saget.
Oh,
Now,
Bob Saget. Yeah, I was for some reason I kept on thinking of Keegan Michael Key, who was the new host of the Planet's Funniest Animals, back when that was still a thing on Animal Planet.
Well, if you're talking about comedians who stun you, George Carlin, Thomas the Tank, and George Carlin stand-up, Bob Saget on Full House versus Bob Saget, the stand-up comic. Are you the same person?
Oh yeah.
I mean, your hair's definitely better.
Yep, I remember seeing the like. I remember I was researching him at one point. I'm about like, this is the guy from Full House doing this? What?
It's like, wow. How much was he just sort of gritting and bearing it?
Who can say?
But then I wonder if that was true for a lot of sitcoms.
Very true. Very true. Honestly, I think like the biggest surprise for me for comedians sort of switching genres and really surprising you with it. A better example, speaking of Keegan Michael Key, would be his cohort Jordan Peele.
Oh yeah, their comedy is fantastic.
Yeah, well, not just that. Like Jordan Peele, he's also the producer. He's been making a huge splash in the horror business with films like Get Out and Us, and most recently the new the new remake of The Twilight Zone.
I seen the first two, not the Twilight Zone, but yeah, he did a. I'm not a horror fan, but even I can attest to how well those are done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not properly cultured. It's the phrase, you uncultured pigeon.
Right. Let's see. I see in the chat a Blaze Razor is asking this question for both of us. What is our favorite moment of TF2 Analysis Anarchy, or any sort of moment with Lightning Bliss or Dr. Wolf?
Well, you first.
For TF2, I will say there is a future moment I adore, but I'm not gonna give away anything on that because that will go into spoilers. But for what's already up, I gotta go with Green Inferno. Both those parts I really enjoyed, just letting myself go free as the Mask and all that. But yeah, that's my favorite moment of actually voicing in the show. As far as like editing the audio, I would have to say in Double Rainbow. That was really fun to put together. I got to try a few new things here and there, and I loved how it came out in the final product.
My favorite moment is synonymous with Lightning Bliss, for it is when in Great Scott This Is Heavy, where the two heavies are having a battle of the super forms, and it's the first time my character transforms into Angry Quill. So, and
yeah.
I forget, did you or Jasper tackle the audio on that one?
That was actually both of us.
Well, you both did a great job, because there's the great build-up music as he's transforming, and I actually hurt my throat doing that transformation howl. My hat's off to voice actors for Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I remember like when I was first gathering all the dialogue for that episode, like I think that was actually the legit first time I've actually heard you scream like that. And because I know, like, being a follower of your work, you're usually a lot more subdued in your delivery, unless it's for like a joke. But sometimes you usually just go falsetto like that. It's like, ah, da, 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 da. But like this is like the first time you actually really like put your all into it, and I'm like, I'm impressed. This actually, it really helps. Pull everything together. And I remember, I think I was actually with you in person at I think Everfree Northwest. It was either 2016 or 2017 when you, me, and Dr. Wolf were going to dinner one night, and you suggested that to us, and we were banging on the table laughing a riot because that was so brilliant.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember going to the barbecue place. I will miss that when we get to, because Everfree is now at a new location, but I'll miss that restaurant. Even Geed. But I remember just sitting there thinking, from a super form. Well, Silver-Quill's all about being sort of going the opposite direction. So what's a form that would be small and unassuming, but still be able to cause some havoc? And I guess the bird analogy just clicked in my head, and it's like, I will be an angry bird. Although in my usual style, it took forever for me to actually design it, let alone make the vectors.
Yeah, true. But yeah, it came out extremely well. Like whenever I let Katie hear any sort of progress on audio editing, she lost it when she heard your Angry Quill pitched up voice. That's like one of her favorite things to go back to and watch.
It was fun to do. And little known fact, the filter I use to help get some squeak in that is an audio filter called Angry Gerbil.
I actually know which preset you're talking about. That's actually an option on Adobe Audition that
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
They say, I'm an angry little gerbil.
I would have to say, as far as like going back to the second half of the question, any favorite moments with Docker or Lightning Bliss? Yeah, again, I would have to say, Blissey, It's Cold Outside. That really stands out to me. And like I gotta say, this was actually one of the better times I've heard Lightning Bliss sing. I know she's really self-conscious about how she sounds, but this was one of the times where she actually she knocked it out of the park pretty well, and I'm glad I was able to add in my harmonies to it. So yeah, Blissey It's Cold Outside. That's definitely a standout favorite for me.
What about a favorite moment with Dr. Wolf?
Um, hmm. I think I would have to say recording for Discord's therapy visit.
Ah,
Yeah, that came out really well, and I'm glad Crown Prince was chosen to do the visuals for that particular video. I think it came out really well. So yeah, I definitely have to say Discord's therapy visit.
nice. For me, when we were doing a special collab on Spike, and uh, Spike has grown to adult size and wrecked Dr. Wolf's office, and he brings up payment, and my character holds up an insurance card addressed to Prince Blueblood, and Dr. Wolf presents this perfect, serious statement. Have you spoken to anyone about this lying habit? And at the risk
Yeah.
of tooting my own horn, I go, yes.
Yeah, and I think that was actually also the first time where um, we revealed your own designs for Dr. Wolf's OC poses. That I think he now makes an effort to try to use more in videos next to Lightning Bliss's design and such.
There you go. The law of unintended consequences.
Yeah.
I believe that's one of those poses found its way to the DVD box of Equestria Girls.
Oh yeah, I remember. It just makes me think, like, for the people who do design the DVD covers, like, were they actually assigned to look for images online? Like, they weren't given any sort of assets from Hasbro proper. They actually had to research, and they found that.
And they ran with
It
it.
was
Hey,
Yeah, they ran with it. I guess the only other thing to ask with that, was that intentional or not?
I'm going to assume unintentional because that seems like a good way to start a legal brouhaha.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, that happened. It was just like, what? Okay, so all I could think was intern. It was an intern. Oh,
Yeah, probably.
someone said, "Hey kid, I need pictures of ponies." Oh, if only they could have done it as J.J. Jonah Jameson. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, or I remember this one joke from when Nostalgia Critic did Care Bears in one in I think it was in Wonderland. No, not in Wonderland. Care Bears Nutcracker. When they were talking about the design of the Vizier being so similar to the Wizard from Care Bears in Wonderland. It's like, hey, we've got an animation. We need an animation cell in 5 seconds. Where's the villain? It's not very good. I don't care.
Oh, you're saying my artwork isn't very good? Oh, I see how it is. Well, you all heard it here first. The truth comes out, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like when I saw, I forget if I saw that image of Dr. Wolf on the DVD cover pop up either as a video he did first, or if it popped up on Equestria Daily first. Either way, I looked at him like, that can't be real. That has to have been a photo someone photoshopped on DeviantArt. But then I looked at it, it's like, oh my god, that's real. Someone actually did a derp.
Well, it's now immortalized, and I think Dr. Wolf has like 10 copies from people who gifted it to him.
Right. Yeah. I think I actually remember. Like, I think I think around the time this happened, a lot of people at Brony Scott were, I think, giving them to Mad Munchkin. Since I think that year he was a guest, but he was a guest over Skype, and yeah, that was something.
At the same time, it's like, don't bombard our friend Mad Munchkin. She's working.
Yeah, she has worked. Like especially now with like before this stream started, I was out of work, but I managed to catch the tail end or like the last third of her 50-minute long video of her reviewing the My Little Pony movie. And I think for the most part I'll need to rewatch it from the beginning again. But yeah, she definitely brought up some interesting points that, you know, gave me a lot to think about, you know, sort of review my initial thoughts on the film.
Mm-hmm. And the nice thing is there's no deadline on thinking. If you want to revisit something from a while ago and reevaluate your opinion, hey, what is the fault in that?
Yeah, in fact, that's kind of what I did for reevaluating my views on Starlight. I think it was like in the midpoint of season 7, mm-hmm. I actually took a step back and like, okay, do I really hate her as much as I do, or like do I want to keep this hatred up just for the giggles and stuff? No wait, it wasn't season 7, it was season 8. And but yeah, you know stuff changes over time.
Yep. And again, no shame in that. I'll tell you one thing is taking a lot of time. I am still working on the central the town hall. Never really appreciate all the detail they put into a design until you have to draw it yourself.
Yeah, seeing you just, you know, go like sort of plank by plank, like the horizontal supports and all that. It's like, yeah, that sounds. It looked like a lot of work, and again, just props to the visual team who had to, you know, not only deal with, you know, creating it, but it had to go, like, how would it look at multiple angles during certain episodes? Like, what would it look like from the second floor? What would it look like from the first floor? What would it look like from the air or, like, underneath it? And, you know, all that jazz.
I guess the one structure I can safely say always looks the same no matter where you're looking at it is Twilight's castle. Or, well, her former castle. Mostly because I think they took one look at all the facets and the gems and they're like, you know what? I think the one angle's good. We're good. Please don't make me draw it from the back.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I don't think we've ever seen it aside from, you know, full frontal.
Oh my. But actually, that's one thing about Ponyville when I was gathering the screenshots for all this. I look at all these. It's like, okay, some things remain consistent, but I could really use a map here. I mean, this place is spread out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah. This one right here is from season 9. These cottages are going way, way, way off in the distance. This is no longer some quaint little town.
Yeah. It's... Or like, maybe there's, like, certain offsets of Ponyville. Like, do they call, like, the whole thing Ponyville, or do they like separate, like, you're in South Ponyville or you're in West Ponyville? Like, you know how they sometimes have, like, you're in West Hollywood, you're in East Hollywood, stuff like that.
I'm not sure. I would find it funny if there was a South Ponyville. Oh my God, you guys, seriously. I don't know. Sure. I don't know how I would feel if I saw South Park ponies.
You know, kind of interesting when you bring up South Park. One of the people that I frequently voiced for, who I believe South Park was one of his influences, at least for style of animation. Toucan LDM with his crossovers. I think I remember him stating that the animation style from South Park was an influence of how he did his own cutout style, sort of animation and all that. And I can see where he gets that from. And I'm honestly kind of surprised he hasn't actually tried to tackle South Park meets My Little Pony. I mean, it would probably be like the first sort of mature content on his channel, aside from his upcoming Rick and Morty meets My Little Pony. But yeah, it would be kind of interesting to see that. But I remember the first time I saw one of his projects, the immediate thing that came to mind was Terry Gilliam's cutout animation from Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Oh, man.
I'm honestly quite surprised he hasn't tried to tackle stuff that absurd yet.
Give it time. All things in time, including absurdity. Especially absurdity.
Yeah, very true. Like, I actually, like 2 nights ago, during me and Katie's weekly date night, I actually introduced her to Monty Python's Flying Circus proper. Like, she's seen all the films, but she has not seen the show proper. And my uncle actually gifted me the entire series DVD box set for Christmas, um, when I was 18. And she, like, we just watched the first 2 episodes and she was already in stitches, and she's like, I can see where you get your sense of humor from now. And I'm like, right?
Oh, yeah. I love watching Monty Python. I think one of my favorites is the Penguin Invasion.
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen that one.
For me as well. I need to refamiliarize. Though I couldn't make this joke last night during a stream of the Untamed Lands with David Silver, but we were meeting with a bishop, and all I could think of was a skit from Monty Python of the bishop, sort of this action hero, slams his, and it's an actual Catholic bishop, and just slams his staff on the table. Right, don't move. So it was very hard to keep a straight face while trying to be semi-serious in this meeting.
Sure. Yeah.
Spoiler warning, I failed.
Yeah. Right, stop that. Silly.
It's quite silly.
Husband, I think. Right, get on with it. Get on with it.
So yeah, I mean, Monty Python, it's one of those things where it's infinitely quotable. You can never summarize it, because that would defeat the point.
No, you can't. You really can't. It's like it's like compiled of like all these microscopic little bits of stuff. You can never really compile it into, one single linear thing. It's just a whole hodgepodge of stuff mashed together. And I don't know, it really kind of revels in it. Like, sure, they try to make all the sketches sort of line up together in some sort of connection, but not really like in some sort of way like you would do a normal linear story. And the fact that it revels in it, I think, just makes it all the funnier.
Oh yeah, some of the best comedy just acknowledges how bizarre it is, and so like, you know what? Let's go in whole hog. Ready to go whole hog.
Yeah. Let's see. Going back to the chat, I see a question from Champ Tuesday, asking if we've seen Firebrand's super form in TF2. Yes, you have. He doesn't really use it much, but when he goes Super Saiyan, that is considered his super form.
In fact, it was the first super form.
It was. I think, yeah, you're right. It was first revealed in Seven Nation Army, the first multi-parter that we've had. But yeah, that is his super form.
Although we haven't seen his his final form, which would be hipster Firebrand. I was super formed before it was cool, you posers.
Yeah, or any sort of form leading up to the final form, because I'm reminded of this one bit that this bit in the show that I watch called Mighty Magiswords, where they kind of do a little knockoff of a super form. There was one episode where one of the characters, his name is Prohyas, he's known to whine a lot when he doesn't get his way, and it's played up for laughs. But there's actually this trickster named Flummox who's actually trying to max out his quote whinometer, and like near the very end, he does, like, when it goes on max and it breaks, they actually take it in a different direction. He does this whole transformation thing, Sailor Moon-esque, but he just turns into just a stoic-faced office worker who does not speak, does not move, only blinks very slowly. And like when I saw it, I'm like, that's a good twist. Like, you power up somebody so much, but they don't put the effort into it. They're just like, they're done with everything. I just felt that was such a brilliantly hilarious twist on that formula.
So that for a minute there, it sounded like Fry, Futurama, when he has too much coffee. Except it's just the opposite.
That too. Yeah, in a sense, yeah. But yeah.
Though I confess, when you said max out his winometer, I thought he was going to try and get him drunk.
Well, they wouldn't really do that. I mean, it's a Cartoon Network show. They can't really do anything with wine on that. But yeah, Mighty Magiswords is. I really got to thank Jasper for introducing me to this show. It's. You can kind of tell that's where I got influences for how to do all those time cards in TF2 Analysis Anarchy. Like he described it himself, it's a show that is pretty much Jasper's sense of humor incarnate. It really is a show he would make if he had the resources and the power to do so. And I think I actually remember mentioning it to you once when you were over here visiting. I think it was like after our bachelor party before my wedding, when you were a groomsman.
Yes, and I have seen Magiswords. And yeah, I've had fun watching it. Just, I especially love the zombie pumpkin Magisword and its dialogue.
Oh yeah, ZP, he is adorbs. It's like, sorry, dude, the normal Magiswords can shrink, right? Oh yeah, he's right, it can. Yeah.
No hurt, friends. Do.
Sacre blue.
I don't know the voice actor, but I will give props once I find out.
Oh, he's actually voiced by the creator of Magiswords, who also voices Prohyas, Kyle A. Carosa.
Ooh, multi-talented.
Oh yeah, Kyle, along with Gray Delisle, they perform a lot of multiple roles, but I think Kyle does the most out of anyone. He does Prohyas, he does Grupp, he does Zombie Pumpkin Magisword, he does the announcer, like the announcer and the title guy who announces all the Magiswords and all the time cards and all that stuff. And like he's really good.
That's one way to save on casting costs. Okay, we're gonna need you to voice everyone.
Yeah. Honestly, the person that I was surprised got cast in the show was Aaron Hansen, also known as Egoraptor from Game Grumps. He voices Gateau.
Oh.
From their rival, from Warriors for Hire's rival characters, Witchway. The Sulu-esque cat wizard who only repeats a certain word that his witch friend says.
Although Sulu-esque, I don't know what you mean by Sulu-esque. He's, oh my?
Well, I remember I watched a video from Game Grumps where Aaron Hansen went over his Wikipedia page to see if he got, they got facts right and stuff like that. And he mentioned how when he was cast as Gateau, they were actually looking for almost like Mr. Sulu impersonation versus Morbidia, who I think like in the first couple of shorts before the series proper, they wanted to go for a more William Shatner-esque delivery.
Ah, lots of pausing and heavy emphasis.
Yeah, it's like, better to me meanies than weenies. Weenies. So,
okay, I will have to. I will have to see that then. Seeing is believing, and I want to
yeah,
be a believer.
yeah, I can link you one of their shorts where they you can probably see it for yourself at some point. But yeah, I remember, yeah, they started off doing a few online shorts before getting into a series proper, and but yeah, it's it's really good. I will give it this. You will need to get used to the fast pace of the first season because a lot of stuff goes by at you really lightning fast. They slow it down a bit in the second season, which was unfortunately their final one. But yeah, it'll take some getting used to. But honestly, I think that's the charm of it. They just throw a lot of stuff at you, and I guess at some point they expect you to get it right away, but I think that kind of adds to the rewatchability of it.
Makes sense. I do remember one of the funnier things. Uh, the sister's name.
Vamber.
Vamber. When she declares that she's walking around bare legs like a kind of like the classic stereotype of a fantasy heroine, and she just declares, "No, I hate pants. I hate their feel. I hate how they work. I will never wear pants, even in their frozen north." And her legs are literally turning blue.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like, I thought you were wearing leggings. How dare you?
Yeah.
It's like, that would explain so much in fantasy. It'd be ridiculous, but it would explain so much.
Yeah, it would. In fact, I actually remember in a future episode, they actually try to make her wear pants, or at the very least, like a suit of armor to help her fight better. And yeah, she is not enjoying it one bit.
I can only imagine her rage.
Oh yeah, it was delicious.
Well, we are fast approaching the top of the second hour, and well, I've not made as much progress as I would like, though. This is the most complex of all the structures in the shot. My hope is I can using all these other images, I can make a far more sprawling vista. So like this, but way more spacing on the sides.
Sounds about right, yeah.
And then maybe I can figure out where the heck Twilight's castle is supposed to be in all this.
I would have to say maybe it's like I want to say it's like maybe it's more like to the right of Town Hall, I think, more like towards because I want to imagine. I think if I'm correct, that would be more the direction towards Canterlot.
Well, that's my that's my big mystery, because here's where I'm getting hung up on things, and as people would say, overthinking a kid's show, which is never a good argument in my eyes. Simply because you're implying a kid's show is unworthy of thought. You got this river going in front of Town Hall, and that river goes near Twilight's castle. Now, so I would think, like you say, it would be over here, to the right of the Town Hall. But because the river doesn't go over to the left. But in other shots, you see like a landmark. There's the windmill near where Sweetie Belle lives, and there should be a castle right there. So Ponyville's layout, in my eyes, aside from this central circle, is very fluid. It is whatever is needed for that episode. But good luck trying to impose any sort of geographical certainty.
Yeah, true. That is very true. Honestly, I think like the closest thing we would get to like how everything is laid out, probably nothing official, but probably the closest we would get is if you played Legends of Equestria. Like at least they try to attempt of where everything is geologically and like how you can try to map it out and all that.
You can, but then the show will just go, ha ha ha, you think you've made sense? What fun is there in making sense? Ha ha ha. And that's when you learn that the real Discord was inspired by their layout effects supervisor.
What can I say? I love multitasking.
So, before, just looking to the future, after I close down the screen, the stream, with the scream, why not? I will be working away on my presentation for Midair Pony Fair tomorrow, which is at it is called Mutual Medials. It will be featured on my Twitch channel. It is a look at the medial archetype as represented by both Zakura and Rarity. Now, but I also say I don't blame anyone if they want to just catch it on the rerun or save stream, because it's 8:30 a.m. for the East Coast, 6:30 a.m. where I live, and for you, Will,
that would be like 5:30 over in the morning over here in Cali. So I would still be asleep.
Yes, if you are sleeping at that hour, I will not blame you. Sleep, be well, be healthy. I'm especially thinking of Sweetie Bloom and Mad Munchkin as I say this.
Yes.
Sleep, my gentle bronies, sleep. But I should.
It's a wonderful thing. It really is. Like even I've come to grips with how much of a workaholic I can be, but at least I still go to bed at a reasonable hour.
Whereas I sometimes go at an unreasonable hour, but I'll do my best after I've got the presentation ready. And I'll be there with probably a green tea in hand.
Yeah, that would be best.
So as it be wide awake, bright and early. Waha!
So yeah, and also just want to say apologies if we didn't get to a majority of questions here. I guess that's sort of on me. I have a tendency to ramble on a lot. So if we didn't get to your questions, if you were like trying to ask it multiple times, apologies. But hey, there might be a next time. But like I said, I have a tendency to ramble.
Oh, we all do. And yes, it's never my intent to shun people or their questions. There's only so much time, and well, I'm not good at multitasking. I tend to define it as doing everything badly. But I'm grateful to all the folks who tuned in, who listened to our meandering thoughts. I'm grateful to you, Thespio, for taking the time to chat with me and just catch up.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's like, I'll be honest, we don't really talk as much, and I kind of wanted to remedy that today. So yeah, I'm glad I decided to drop by. This is fun.
Good, I'm glad. It's true. I am not an easy person to get hold of online. You think, oh, he's got a YouTube channel. Yes, but as the consummate introvert, I need to be offline for a little bit.
Yeah, and plus too, like even with me, I kind of I have fault in this too. Like even like with what's currently going on, I'm considered an essential worker because I work for app services like Uber, DoorDash, Instacart, Amazon Flex, and stuff like that. So I myself, I still need to, keep money flowing even during this whole thing. So, I know my channel has been bare for the most part for like these past few months, but I assure you, like, even though uploads on my channel are scarce nowadays, I am still working on stuff, mostly just for other people, be it either voice work or audio work and stuff like that. So I'm still doing stuff. I do plan on remedying that hopefully soon, but we'll see what the future holds.
Yes, I know the feels. After my mutual medials, I'll be working on my next After the Fact video, and perhaps put on an audiobook and keep tackling Ponyville. Vectoring, it can actually be very calming, just putting things all together. But yes, I have gotten at least as far as the majority of Town Hall, which is no small feat.
Yeah, just seeing you tackle it bit by bit, I can see how it will be calming, and yeah.
At the same time, it's like, oh my God, why are there so many buildings? Curse you, Ponyville population boom. But before we go with Thespio, is there you've talked about future projects? Any shout outs or just heyas you'd like to give?
Nothing really to anyone in specificity's sake. That is a weird combination of words I never thought I would say. But just thank you to everyone for coming out, for listening to us ramble, and just for the most part, just hope you guys are staying safe, staying healthy, and also staying in contact with your loved ones as much as possible.
Yes, never underestimate the power of the internet to connect people. It's not all flame wars.
Mm-hmm. And yes, as far as like future stuff, I'm still keeping going with more audio projects, including TF2. I'm actually in the process of doing a first volume mix pass on something. And then I've got just a few other things I'll probably record later on, and I'm constantly being busy, and I like it.
Excellent. Well, but like I say, if you can sleep in tomorrow, do so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will wish everyone a good night and just an easy go of it. Have a wonderful weekend, and again, happy May. So we'll see what happens this month. Until then,
Peace out, y'all.
I'm Silver-Quill. Thanks for watching.